Millennium Daily News. This is Ifat Fatima with top stories. Trump blames Islamist terrorists for slaughter of Christians in Berlin. Pentagon confirms death of 2 Qaeda leaders in Afghanistan. Aleppo evacuation, Syrian army warns rebels to leave. Hajj pre-registration begins from Jan 15 next. Asian shares slip as US-China drone row drags. Tigers prepare for South Africa series. Those were the headlines, and now the detail. President-elect Donald Trump squarely blamed the slaughter of at least 9 people at a busy Christmas market in central Berlin on Islamist terrorists. German police have so far only described as a possible terror attack the incident in which a truck plowed through a crowd in scenes reminiscent of July's deadly truck attack in the French city of Nice. Our hearts and prayers are with the loved ones of the victims of the horrifying terror attack in Berlin. Innocent civilians were murdered in the streets as they prepared to celebrate the Christmas holiday, Trump said in a statement. ISIS and other Islamist terrorists continually slaughter Christians in their communities and places of worship as part of their global jihad. The Republican who takes office January 20 and is known for his hated rhetoric also promised to wipe out terrorists. These terrorists and their regional and worldwide networks must be eradicated from the face of the earth, a mission we will carry out with all freedom-loving partners, he said. A U.S. strike against a senior al-Qaeda leader in Afghanistan in October also killed 2 other senior operatives, the Pentagon said. The Defense Department had already announced the death of Farouk al-Qahtani, al-Qaeda's emir for northeastern Afghanistan, who was killed in the October 23 drone strike in Kunar province. Pentagon Press Secretary Peter Cook confirmed the strike also killed Bilal al-Utabi, Qahtani's deputy, as well as Abdullah al-Wahid al-Junabi, described as a senior al-Qaeda explosives expert. All 3 were actively involved in carrying out and plotting terror attacks inside and outside Afghanistan, Cook said. U.S. Republican and Democratic senators called on for a special bipartisan panel to investigate cyber attacks against the United States by foreign countries with a focus on Russia's alleged efforts to influence the U.S. presidential election. Charles Schumer, who will be Senate Democratic leader in the new U.S. Congress in January, and Republican John McCain, chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee, said separately a select committee was needed to ensure effective congressional focus on the hacking of Democratic Party emails during the campaign. The fact that they are hacking our political system and trying to influence the outcome, as it seems to be, that is serious stuff, Schumer of Newark told a news conference in New York. He said the panel should also examine hacking by other countries, including China and Iran. 2 other senators, Republican Lindsey Graham of South Carolina and Democrat Jack Reed of Rhode Island, joined Schumer and McCain of Arizona in sending a letter to Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell requesting the panel. The Syrian army is calling on the last remaining rebels to leave eastern districts of Aleppo as the evacuation of their besieged enclave continues. Soldiers reportedly broadcast messages by loudspeaker warning that they would soon enter the areas, but one rebel official said the fighters would only leave once all civilians who wanted to had done so. The Red Cross says 25,000 people have been evacuated since a ceasefire deal halted the army's offensive a week ago. It is not known exactly how many are still waiting to leave eastern Aleppo, but the UN Special Envoy to Syria estimated that about 40,000 civilians and 10,000 rebels were there. Viewers, now the news on Bangladesh topic. Jatiya Party placed its 5-point proposal on election commission reform to President Abdul Hamid during the meeting of a JP delegation with the president in his office recently. The proposal includes formulating a legal structure according to the Constitution of appointing the Chief Election Commissioner and other commissioners, keeping a provision to make Election Commission completely independent, setting up a separate secretarial for the Commission and enacting a law in this regard. The JP team also proposed some criteria for the people who wish to be appointed commissioners. These include their personal impartiality, dedication and integrity, minimum and maximum age, professional qualifications, physical and mental soundness, and political affiliation. Party Chairman Hussein Mohammad Irshad led the delegation that met President Hamid in his office. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina said the incidents of death of innocent Bangladeshis along the border are a matter of concern. The death incidents of innocent Bangladeshis along the border areas are the matter of grave concern to us, she said, reports UNB. The Prime Minister made the remark while addressing a parade marking the Border Guard Bangladesh BGB Day 2016 at its headquarters at Pilkhana in Dhaka. She also appreciated the role of BGB personnel in recent years to reduce the number of death incidents through strengthening friendly relations with Indian BSF. The death incidents in border areas have calmed down to a great extent in recent years due to your efforts for strengthening friendly relations with the BSF, she said. Religious Affairs Minister Principal Motiur Rahman said the pre-registration process of Hajj, those who are interested to perform their Hajj, will begin January 15 next. The government has taken all necessary steps to complete the pre-registration process in a smooth manner, he said while inaugurating a training program for the officers, employees, agents and other concerned with registration process at the airport Ashkona Hajj camp here. The minister said in line with the Saudi Arabia government, Bangladesh government has introduced the Hajj e-service for the first time. Last year, 1.40 lakh people were registered with the process, while 1,08,029 pilgrims performed their Hajj in 2016. Rahman said, adding that the rest of the registered people would get priority to perform Hajj next year. Okay. Viewers, now the Millennium Business News. Most Asian stock benchmarks lost ground as investors fretted over the potential political and economic fallout from China's capture of a U.S. underwater glider. Worries over China's effort to stem outflows of capital also overshadowed the Hong Kong market following an economic work conference in Beijing late last week. Japan's benchmark Nikkei 225 index slipped 0.2% to 19,357.07, while South Korea's Kospi edged 0.1% lower to 2,040.99. Hong Kong's Hang Seng shed 0.9% to 21,832.85, and the Shanghai Composite Index dipped 0.2% to 3,116.63. Australia's S&P ASX 200 rose 0.7% to 5,572.6. Venezuela's highest denomination banknote has ceased to be legal tender in a move that has caused cash chaos and long queues in banks. Protests against the move led to looting in parts of the country, with shops attacked and roads blocked. Some cash machines were still issuing the old 100 Bolivar notes hours before they expired. President Nicolas Maduro said new higher denomination bills would be fully distributed in January. He has closed the border with Brazil and Colombia until Sunday to stop mafias hoarding the currency abroad. The dollar hit a 14-year high as the yen sealed after the Bank of Japan stuck to its ultra-loose monetary policy, while U.S. stock indexes touched record highs as the rally in riskier assets since the U.S. election looked set to continue. On Wall Street, the Dow neared the 20,000 level, DJI as reassurance over Italy's plan to spend up to 20 billion euros to rescue its troubled banks, offset risk aversion following attacks in Turkey and Germany a day earlier. Investors have become so fast in digesting bad news, and this explains the resilience in financial markets, said Hussein Said, chief market strategist at FXTM. U.S. stocks have rallied since the November 8 election, with the S&P 500 rising nearly 6% on bets that President-elect Donald Trump's plans for deregulation and infrastructure spending will give a boost to business. China hopes there won't be a trade war with the United States, but it will take appropriate steps to cope with that possibility, a Chinese vice finance minister said. Zhu Guangyao, addressing an economic forum at a time of rising tensions with Washington, said both countries should abandon a zero-sum mentality and seek to improve economic and trade cooperation. China will take appropriate steps to cope with a possible trade war with the United States, including through bilateral communications and the World Trade Organization, he said. We don't hope to see this happen. It could hurt both countries, Zhu said, but China will unwaveringly safeguard its core interests, which he said involve territorial integrity, sovereignty, and safety of political systems. Finance Minister A.M.A. Mohit said the government will create a sovereign fund worth $5 billion from the Bangladesh Bank's forex reserves to issue sovereign bond for implementation of mega projects smoothly. We have surplus foreign currency reserves at about $31 billion. If we can take money from the reserves instead of borrowing money from foreign sources, it will be good for the country. The size of the fund would be at least $5 billion, he said. The minister said this while briefing journalists after emerging from a meeting with a committee in this regard led by BB Deputy Governor S.K. Sur Choudhury at the secretariat in the city. The committee handed over a report with recommendations to the finance minister for formulating the fund. Viewers, now the Millennium Science and Technology News. Marine scientists have discovered that two species of dolphin in the water of Bangladesh are genetically distinct from those in other regions of the Indian and Western Pacific Oceans. The finding supports a growing body of evidence that the Bay of Bengal harbors conditions that drive the evolution of new life forms. In the comparative study using DNA collected from both Indo-Pacific humpback dolphins and Indo-Pacific bottlenose dolphins and data from previous genetic studies, the researchers found that both populations of both species are distinct from population in other parts of the Indian Ocean and Western Pacific. This discovery follows the recent description of a possible new species of river shark in the same waters. Our findings indicate that there is a connection between the presence of these distinct populations of dolphins and the unique oceanic habitat that is found in the Bay of Bengal, said lead author of the study, Ana Emerald of the Center for Ecology, Evolution and Environmental Changes, University de Lisbon, Portugal. Scientists say they have identified a remarkable new feature in Earth's molten outer core. They describe it as a kind of jet stream, a fast-flowing river of liquid iron that is surging westwards under Alaska and Siberia. The moving mass of metal has been inferred from measurements made by Europe's swarm satellites. The trio of spacecraft are currently mapping Earth's magnetic field to try to understand its fundamental workings. The scientists say the jet is the best explanation for the patches of concentrated field strength that the satellite observed in the northern hemisphere. This jet of liquid iron is moving at about 50 kilometers per year, explained Dr. Chris Findlay from the National Space Institute at the Technical University of Denmark. A deep-sea octopod, dubbed Casper after the film Ghost because of its appearance, could be at risk for mining, scientists say. The animal, possibly a new species, was discovered last spring at depths of more than 4,000 meters. Studies suggest females nurture their eggs for several years on parts of the seabed that contain valuable metals. Commercial companies are interested in harvesting metals and minerals from the bottom of the ocean. There are growing concerns about the future impact of mining on life in the deep sea, much of which has yet to be discovered and categorized. Air passengers could be subjected to a series of shocking incidents if security flaws in cabin entertainment systems were abused, say researchers. Security experts found flaws that let them take over cabin entertainment systems. The flaws could allow attackers to switch off lights, change at altitude readings, display bogus maps, and broadcast messages via the PA. Personal information and credit card data were also accessible via the bugs. The weaknesses were found in the Pansonic Aero in-flight systems by Ruben Santamaria, a researcher at security firm IOA Active. The Aero in-flight system are used by many different airlines, including Virgin, Emirates, Air France, American Airlines, and KLM. Security is not one of the system's main strengths, Mr. Santamaria told the BBC. Viewers, now the Millennium Sports News. Bangladesh women's cricket team have started their practice session on the eve of the series against South Africa. Tigers will play a series of 5 one-day international matches against the South Africa. This series between South Africa and Bangladesh women's will kick off from January 12. It is to inform that the series between Bangladesh women's cricket team and South Africa women's cricket team are featured to play according to the time which is given below. January 12, first ODI Bangladesh women versus South Africa women. January 14-27, second ODI Bangladesh women versus South Africa women. January 16, 2017, third ODI Bangladesh women versus South Africa women. January 18, 2017, fourth ODI Bangladesh women versus South Africa women. And January 20, 2017, fifth ODI Bangladesh women versus South Africa women. Barcelona beat local rivals Espanyol 4-1 at Camp Nou to cut Real Madrid's lead down to 3 points at the top of La Liga. Lionel Messi put on a show in Barcelona's final Spanish League game of the year, scoring once and mesmerizing with his dribbling skills to set up 2 other goals in a 4-1 win. The MSN trident of Lionel Messi, Luis Suarez, and Neymar put on a spectacular show as a Christmas gift to the fans who turned out on a chilly evening. Luis Suarez struck the first 2 goals and Jordi Alba added another in a victory that left Barcelona 3 points behind leader Real Madrid ahead of the winter break. Madrid, which won FIFA's Club World Cup in Japan this weekend, has a game in hand. Messi dazzled the crowd at Camp Nou for the first time when he cleared 4 defenders outside the area, including by rolling the ball between the legs of one of them before having his shot paired. Suarez pounced on the loose ball to score his second goal in the 67th minute. Before ending, the headlines are once again. Trump blames Islamist terrorists for slaughter of Christians in Berlin. Pentagon confirms death of 2 Qaeda leaders in Afghanistan. Aleppo evacuation, Syrian army warns rebels to leave. Hajj pre-registration begins from Jan 15 next. Asian shares slip as US-China drone row drags. Tigers prepare for South Africa series. This is all for now from Millennium Daily Newsroom. To get any kind of news, please visit to our social website facebook.com/MillenniumTVUSA and youtube.com/MillenniumTVUSA. Besides, to get the most updated news, please log into our website www.millenniumtv.net. Stay with Millennium. Allah Hafiz.